How many atoms is the ionic compound aluminum chloride composed of? 2, 3, 4, or 5 atoms? Firstly, let's dissect the name. Aluminum is the metal, and chlorine is the nonmetal. Now let's identify where these elements are on the periodic table. We see that aluminum is in group 3 and chlorine is in group 7. And this is relevant because the group to which an element belongs tells us exactly how many valence electron that element has. For example, every single one of these elements in group 2 has exactly 2 valence electrons. And acknowledging the fact that the ideal for elements is to gain or lose as many valence electrons to achieve an octet, 8 valence electrons. Chlorine already has 7, so it needs to gain 1 to get to 8. And aluminum has 3 valence electrons, and it would simply be easier to lose those 3 valence electrons rather than to gain 5. And that leaves us with Al3+ and Cl-. This lost 3 electrons, this gained 1 electron. But does that mean that aluminum chloride has 2 atoms because we have our ions right here and it's an ionic compound after all? Well, no, because to be an ionic compound, we need to have a 0 charge overall, a neutral charge, and adding up the charges of the individual ions, we get something that's not 0, it's +2. So right off the bat, we know that 2 is not the correct answer, so we're going to cross out A. So to figure this out, we know that because our individual ions are not equal and opposite, for example, not +3 and -3, we're not going to have a 0 overall charge with 1 ion each. So we need to adjust the relative number of each to get this 0 charge overall. And we achieve that when we have 3 of these Cl-. Here's another way of looking at this, where because the charges of our individual ions are not equal and opposite, as one is triple the magnitude of the other, we need to adjust it so that the overall contribution of charge for each ion is equal and opposite, so that overall it adds to 0. Therefore, the correct answer is C. AlCl3, which is aluminum chloride, has exactly 4 atoms in total.